The next one is Salesforce relationship introduction. Today we will see the introduction. Tomorrow we will see in detail. Now relationship introductions are like, what is a relationship? Relationship is nothing but I have two individual objects. I have two individual objects. Now if I wanted to build a relationship between these two objects, I want to build the relationship between these two objects. In that case, we will go for a relationship. So relationship is nothing but in Salesforce, it's a two-way association between the two objects. That means I can create a relationship by using the custom relationship field on the object. We have a relationship field in the object. So basically, the relationship is a separate topic, but in Salesforce, it's a one of the data type. It's one of the data type. Relationship is one of the data type. Now, if you want to create a relationship, you need to go to the fields and relationship and select the data type. Right? You can see in the fields and relationship to create a relationship. So while mapping the association, you need to have a two things you need to identify. If you want to implement a relationship, you need to first understand the two things. One is, if I have a two objects, out of two objects, which one is a parent and which one is a child object? You need to identify the parent and child object. And step two is then map the relationship between the object. And we need to create a relationship always on the child object. Child is looking to the parent. Child is looking to the parent. So whether it is whatever the relationship it might be, you need to create it on the child. So always we need to create it on the child. Like we have to create an additional field in the child object by selecting any of the relationship types. So we have a basic relationship types are two: lookup relationship and master detail relationship. Basic relationships are two: lookup relationship and master detail relationship. In the lookup relationship, and then one more is a external lookup relationship. External lookup relationship. So total three relationships we have. In Salesforce, we have a three relationships: lookup, master, external. Now, again, the lookup relationship is divided into the hierarchical relationship, self relationship. Lookup relationship is divided into the hierarchical as well as the self. Now, if you want to create a hierarchical, you need to choose the lookup only. That means hierarchical relationship. If you want to create a self relationship, you need to choose the lookup option. So total Salesforce relationships are, we have these are the basic. Okay, we have another one, which is a many-to-many relationship, which is called as a junction object. Junction object. Now, why we use a relationship? To avoid the data redundancy, data inconsistency. Let's assume I have a table, student table, and HOD tables are there. In student table, I'm storing the student information. And in HOD table, I'm storing the HOD information. Right? In this case, I have two different tables are there. I have two different tables are there. Now, how do I know that, okay, this student is, this HOD is handling the, like what are the branch details? Maybe HOD table, which is nothing but a branch. So this user is, this student is taking the CSC. This student is a CSC. And this student is a ECE. And this student is a ECE. Now, if you want to create this, now if you combine these two tables, now assume that if you combine these two tables, you are going to repeat this branch information multiple times, because Mark is also CSE, Robert is also CSE. So you need to write the data multiple times. Instead of writing the data multiple times, I'm saying it separate the table and then implement a relationship between these two. So mark, in the mark here, you create a one more field, which is called as a relationship field. And in this, specify it. Now Mark is pointing out to the B001, which is a CSC. Robert is also CSC. So point this to the CSC. David is ECE. So point to ECE. Robin is a ECE. Point to ECE. Instead of creating everything in one table, just separate information based on the certain data, separate it. If you know that some data I'm going to repeat it, so then better separate it and then implement a relationship between the two objects. So map the relationship between the two objects inside the organization. So we have a relationships. So lookup relationship, master detail relationship, and external lookup relationship. Also, we have a junction object. And again, lookup relationship is divided into the self relationship and hierarchical relationship. The few interview questions. What is the relationship in Salesforce? What are the different type of Salesforce relationships? And how many lookup relationship can be created per object? And then we have a trial head link. I have given the trial head link. I'll also provide the reference link here.